Hey folks, yeah, I'm on my lunch. I got about 18 minutes left. Um, but I want to answer a question. I'm sure anybody has. If you're a parent, you probably wonder this yourself. And I think I've tried to answer this before. But I think everybody always wonders why older people, why people in the 20s, the 30s, heck, even the 40s, maybe even later on, why they go out, mostly I should say 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s, between the 20s and the 40s, let's put it that way. Why we in this age group, why we go out and we buy certain figures, we buy certain toys, but yet we don't really play with them. That all we do is maybe show off what it's capable of doing, or show off how it looks, and then that's it. And then the next thing you know, we probably reseal it, repackage it, and hang it up. Or maybe put it away for storage. I'm sure there's a lot of folks, a lot of parents, if you will, that have always wondered that, have always asked that question. And quite frankly, it's a question that has a right to be answered in some way. You see, as kids, and we know this from experience, as kids, if we see something like a toy, like let's say Ninja Turtle, Transformers, you name it, and we decide, hey, we want it so we can play with it, you know, as a kid, we don't really know the sentimental value exactly, or how, not just the sentimental value, but the value basically overall of what this figure, this toy could be. We don't realize that perhaps if we keep it in pristine condition, even if we play with it, we keep it clean, we keep it in near, if not complete, perfect, pristine condition, that it could be worth a lot in the future. But yet, there are some kids nowadays that don't understand that. Now, I'm not saying all kids are like that. I'm not. As a matter of fact, there are certain kids that do understand that. Well, like I said, there are certain kids that understand that. But then again, there are some that don't. Now, I'll give you an example. I have a couple of nephews. And one of them, if not both of them, if not all three of them, are huge Ninja Turtle fans. I can't take that away from them. I can't take away the fact that they are huge Ninja Turtle fans. I can't take that away from them. But I also know that when my job here, right here, got the new the figures for the movie in, the new movie figures in. And I knew that when I went, because I first saw this Wednesday night, late Wednesday night, I knew, hey, I have the money, I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy these figures, and I'm not going to open them, I'm going to collect them. And yet, one of the first things my nephews asked, and I'm surprised they were up this late, but then again, it's summer, they were still up when I got back, was they wanted to play with them. And I said no. And they asked why. And I said, because they're collectors. And it's just like when they want to play with my Transformers. Why not? Collectors. You see, true for an adult, true, just like with a kid, for an adult, let's say you have a Transformers figure, it does stimulate the mind, keeps the mind occupied, if you will, trying to put the thing together, or trying to transform the thing into whatever whatever kind of variations you could put it together in, or transform it into. So yeah, it does stimulate the mind for both kid and adult. But when you're done doing that, you like to keep it safe and pristine. You know, for me, I have Sonic figures as well as even Sonic plushes. And I like to try to keep them in pristine condition. Heck, I have a Princess Sally plush that I paid $200-something for many years ago. Well, not many years ago, about 7 years ago. 7 years ago. She's still in decent condition. And she's an official Sega plush from the Sega World down in Sydney, Australia. So, and those are people doing a car wash across the street. You know, so when people try to play with some of the things that I have, I try to, make sure it doesn't happen. Now, I'm not against kids playing with toys and all that. No. I actually have a few Ninja Turtle figures that I bought during the 2003 series that when I lived in Kansas and I opened those up, I had areas to place them. I had an area where I hung them up from certain areas and they were displayed like that. So I know what it's like to try to collect things just so you can display them. I mean, why do you think why do you think when you watch the Toy Hunter show on Travel Channel on Demand, why do you think a lot of the people he goes to are mostly collectors? Why do you think that? Why do you think that? And why do you think some of the people are reluctant to get rid of certain pieces of their memorabilia? Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why it is. It's because they like having it. They like having it, and it basically brings back memories. But also, the theme about the Toy Hunter show, when one thinks about it, is somebody selling off part of the collection from a long ago for a decent amount of money. Or at least a fair amount, depending on its condition. For example, if someone says, there have been times, I should say, that the Toy Hunter has gone and basically bought toys from their owners, the original toys, and sometimes those toys or figures could be in perfect condition, and they could be sold, and the Toy Hunter guy could basically buy them for up to, let's say, maybe depending on what it is, $300, $500 at most, and he makes a profit off it by double or triple that, because he knows the value. He knows the value that's there. And yet you have kids that don't, and yet you have a generation of kids, unless they're taught the value of something like this, you have kids that just want to play with them. He should be glad that some of the collectors, they do have kids, but they also kind of teach the kids, hey, these toys are not to be played with. It's like if he was to find a pristine, in near, if almost perfect condition of a original Fortress Maximus from the original G1 Transformer line. He would buy that for big bucks and sell it for big bucks. I mean, there are figures from the Amigo days that he talks about. And when he sells them at his auctions, sell for crazy price, could sell for great prices depending on the condition. The point is, the reason we adults, we nostalgic adults, buy these toys, even if they're new ones, like the movie figures for Ninja Turtles, for the new Ninja Turtle movie. The reason we buy them and we don't open them, and if we do open them, we put them back into packaging and tape it up and try to keep it in decent condition, is because we know it's going to have a decent value in the end. It is. It's going to have a decent value. That's what it's about. Now, if you have kids that are persistent to play with them, best idea, buy backups. That's all you have to do. Buy the backups. Say, okay, I'm going to get these figures again, so that this way, the ones in my room are hanging on. Let's say the ones in my room right now that are hanging on my wall are collectibles and not to be touched, while the others, the backups, if you will, are playable for the kids. So that is mainly why people like me, nostalgic adults, do this. I mean, heck, you think there's a lot of bronies right now that are not collecting, trying to find and collect some of the G1 ponies? They're not trying to keep in good, pristine condition some of the current ponies from Friendship is Magic? Oh, heck yeah, they are. But they're not. But they also realize, let's say if they have kids or nephews, these kids or nephews are going to be like, oh, I want to play with that. They realize they need to have backups ready for them. So, to me, honestly, folks, you can go with this two ways. One, you can get the figures for yourself and collect them, put them in areas that you can display them in. You can show them off, repackage them again, and then display them. And then two, if you have kids that want to still play with these figures, next best thing is to go get backups so they can play with those. Unless they end up buying them, unless their parents end up getting them themselves for them. So, but that's basically why people like me, us nostalgic adults, kids at heart, buy these figures, these toys, to collect, not to play with. Let me know if you agree with what I've said here. Comment below. I'll talk to you.